This is the European edition of Breaking Banks, the world's #1 fintech podcast and radio show. We bring you the European unicorns, startups, founders, regulators, and leaders innovating the rapidly evolving fintech scene today. A truly localized podcast with both English and local language content, with some of the world's most well-known hosts and influencers in the fintech sector globally. Join us every week as we explore what makes the European Union a phenomenal proving ground for many of the fastest growing fintech plays in the world today. Okay, let's roll.
Welcome to Breaking Banks Europe, the #1 global fintech radio network. This is episode 229, where I'll be speaking about Fintech4Good, solutions for immigrants. My name is Elizabeth Kleinveld, and today I have the CMO of Arrivall, Terver, Bendega, and the CTO of Íkualo, Ethien, Salinas.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. Nice to have you here. And you both have such interesting stories. I'd love to hear more about your startup. So, Terver, I'm going to first start with you. Can you tell me a little bit more about what Arrivall does?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me. I'd like to tell you more about Arrivall, but before I do, I'd like to share the journey that led us here. So I became an immigrant in 2021, and prior to 2021, I lived in Lagos, Nigeria, and then I moved to the UK to take my career to the next level. But nothing prepared me for the many difficulties and exclusions that I felt as an immigrant, or that I experienced as a new arrival in the UK. Broadly, I'd say I experienced 3 major challenges. The first was just the fact that despite coming from a place of a relatively privileged background in my home country, coming to the UK meant that I had a very hard time accessing rental property. I was required to either pay 3 months up front or find a UK citizen with a mortgage. And for me at the time, that was a very high barrier to access.
It sounds almost impossible. I mean, did you have any idea that you'd have to come with like this 3 months rent up front?
I had no clue. In fact, I was so deluded that when I came, I actually thought that I could get a mortgage.
Wow.
I then realized that even getting rent was going to be very difficult. But the second thing that was really shocking for me was that it was really difficult for me to get a bank account. In fact, I visited a high street bank 12 times across the span of 3 months before I was able to open an account. And that's ridiculous considering the fact that I actually schooled in the UK. And then finally, I didn't understand credit. I come from a country, Nigeria, where we don't really have credit building. And so I didn't realize how much not having a credit score was going to affect me, and, how many facilities I
can imagine
blocked out from, because of that. But all the while, I thought I was having a unique experience. And it was when my co-founder, Femi, who used to be my colleague in Nigeria, moved to Ireland, that I realized that my story, while interesting, is not a unique story. It's, in fact, the story of over 1 million immigrants who move to the UK and Ireland every year. And I think this is why we're building Arrivall, to offer rental guarantee, personal financing, and credit building solutions, and make sure that no one else has to face that pain of exclusion that we faced ever again.
That makes sense. I always like to ask teams, why are you the ones to solve this problem? And I don't need to ask you that. It's very, very clear. Yeah. So you're solving the pain of exclusion and sometimes exploitation, right? Absolutely. By providing immigrants with these top 3 things. Rental guarantees to help the new arrivals, rent properties without having to put down those 3 months, like you said you had to put down. And what about personal banking and things like that? What are you going to do on that front, or is that later in your roadmap?
So that's something that's coming slightly later in our roadmap. But the idea with that is you come to the UK, you don't have a bank account. It means that, you can't register for the NHS. So even though you've paid for that, you're going to have a hard time because there's a ripple effect. You need to have a bank account. You need to have an address to be able to open a bank account.
So it's all this chicken and egg, right?
Exactly. So you just find that all the services that help you to assimilate in a society and feel like, oh, I belong here. I'm here. I can thrive here. I can work here. I can live here. these things are things that you're blocked out of.
Well, that makes sense. It's a pity that does make sense, but I've been an immigrant before too, so I can relate to this. So, and Ethien, do you recognize this in your story? And please do tell us how you guys came to start Íkualo. Am I saying it right?
Yeah. Well, the name is Íkualo.
Íkualo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But also, it's like a completely agree with Terver, because it's like when you are an immigrant and you are just moving, probably the thing that is inside you is that you are going to get something that it's better in the other place, that because you are going to move forward in your career, as she was saying. But once you get to the place, you realize that there are some troubles that you don't even recognize in your own country, because it's like there you have like all your credit story, you have been working, you have been studying for a lot of years, but suddenly it's like all of those things are like completely lost. It's like it doesn't exist. Even if you have like a credit score, or you have like your whole history in studies and whatever, yeah, well, it's probably the same institution, but it's not the institution for this place. And just to name, you know, it's like there are a few big corporations in banking, but it's like I don't want to name any one of them, but it's like you have like the institution in Mexico, but also if you have like the institution in Spain, it's not the same. Well, but I have like my money, and you already could see that I have like my whole history.
That's very interesting. So they're really disconnected.
Completely.
Wow. Sounds like one step forward as an immigrant, 3-4 steps back. So tell us, please, what Íkualo does then.
Yeah, well, for us, the same, no? I think I feel completely connected with that, is because once you have feel that pain, it's like easy for you to recognize that there is something to be solved. And in our case, is that starting like having a financial institution. Íkualo is a financial institution for immigrants. Why we don't define ourselves as a bank or neobank or something like that? It's just because probably that is the starting point for that. Probably the first thing that you need is to have like bank account, and it's the first problem that we are solving. But also in our roadmap, there is a lot of some other things, like my co-founder, Harold Correa, is from Colombia, and I'm from Mexico. And for us, is as Latin American people, we are really connected with our roots. And once you move, it's like not completely disconnect from your family, friends, or whatever. So there are some other products that are related, like international transfers or
nice
things like that. So yeah, that and again, buying some things or some stuff for your family, and it's something that when we were start talking about that kind of ideas, that Harold told me that I would like to start having the possibility to buy some things for my family. Yeah, well, indeed, I do it each week for my mom. I send money for my mom every week, and I buy.
You're going to add remittances aspect as well, or do you have that already even?
No, it's in our roadmap. The first step that we are making, it's the possibility to open a bank account, and that is already
really important, very important. And I remember you saying that, you know, in the KYC, all you need really is your passport and a proof of address, and that proof of address could be even an Airbnb. And if you're living with somebody else, then the other one needs to mention it. And then it's as simple as that. You can open a bank account. So you don't even have to show proof of funds. Is that right?
Exactly, because currently we are focused in population that has like a short amount of funds. So we are under 2,000 euros per month, so more or less. And yeah, for that you don't need that proof. And the most important thing is that we are opening it with the passport, because normally when you came here, is that most of the institutions are going to ask you for the residency or something like that. But legally it's possible to open it just with the passport. But
Amazing.
it
But
is
people don't know that.
exactly, and institutions don't make it easy for you to do it with that. It's like because of course we cannot do it just because we don't want, just because we want it. It's because it's possible to do it, but some institutions don't want it to do it because for them are going to
It's too much of a risk, maybe.
exactly. But for us, it's like we are taking the requirements to the minimum possible. And for example, that is like two of the most important things that are to mention: the passport and a proof of address that you are here. And that could be that is like, as you were
Thank
saying.
you. I'm going to ask you something else then. Because I remember you said that like if somebody does have more than 2K a month that's coming in, then you do have like a step up KYC part of the process, correct?
Exactly, because at the end it's like at any other bank account, you need to register, go through the KYC process, and after open the account. But if in the KYC process you are declaring that you have more funds, so yeah, for that needs to be asked for some other documentation. But there are like some other cases, or at least in our current roadmap, or as we are living it right now.
Okay, so I come to Spain, I move, and I want to get a bank account. If I come to you, within how many days do I get an account, and how long does this KYC process take, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that is something that is very, very interesting because it's at most 2 days that it is going to take, because the application process is in around 10 minutes. Of course, if you have everything ready, all the documentation, it's already in your phone or in your computer, you can make the application for about 7 minutes.
Amazing.
And the KYC process, it's going to take at most 2 days. Will be in the first day and probably a matter of hours, but we wanted to be realistic, and so we take it at maximum, and it's 2 days.
So when did you get started?
Well, the legal process started like 2 years ago, but let's say that when were ready for launch our first version was in the middle of the last year, when we started like having our webpage published, and also we started getting some leads in our waiting list. So starting with that, we started the communication. We, of course, it's like any other startup. You need to validate that there are a few customers that they could wanted to want that.
Well, so, and it sounded to me like you had 40,000 customers who wanted this. Is that right?
Is that the leads that we have in our waiting list? Yes.
Amazing. And you just launched 3 weeks ago, is that right?
Exactly. It's a few weeks ago, we launched our first version completely live, and you can already found it in Apple Store and Play Store. And we have our few customers already signed it up. And
did I understand it was 1,000?
They are.
Amazing. I mean, in just 3 weeks, that's really amazing. And do all of these signups have to be from people living in Spain, or is this opened broader than just Spain?
It's in all Europe, but currently we are just focused here in Spain because, it's like could be for all the European Union, but
nice.
As we are here and we need to start making our first step, we wanted to be focused here. And
I understand, but I do feel a potential partnership in the air. You never know, Terver. You might, after this conversation, talk to one another and see how are there ways to work together. Before we go back to you, Terver, I just want to understand a little bit more about the partners that are important to you. So if you can tell us a little bit about the partnerships you have, and then what's next on your roadmap, and then I want to go back to Arrivall.
Yeah, well, as we are a fintech, there are a lot of solutions that are already on the air. But probably one of the most important companies that it's working close with us is Visa. And with them, we are
Nice.
working for make some important things. But probably one of the things that get us very excited is regarding to the international transfers, because with that we are gonna be able to send money back or send money, because it's in the two ways.
So, and like on your roadmap, international transfer, is that for your roadmap the beginning of next year, or what are you thinking?
No, before the end of this year, we are thinking about for September.
Great.
In the last quarter of this year, we think that we are going to be ready for do that.
And just another question, if you would look at, either your wait list or those first 1,000 signups, where are people coming from mainly? The immigrants, what countries?
Yeah. Most of them is like being here in Spain, like at the end, the language is Spanish. And a lot of colonies used to be in Latin America. Most of our customers are like 90% are from Latin America, like probably a little bit more than 60% are from Colombia. Some others are from Mexico, Guatemala, Chile, and Argentina. More or less, it's like the first batch that we have, and the rest 10% is like for some other places, which of course is like because at the end the problem for immigrants, we have found applications even from Chinese people, which is very, very interesting, because it's like you could think that they have some other options, and probably they have, but they feel connected with the project and they have made some applications.
I can understand it. Look, I'm from the States and I had problems too 30 years ago. Imagine. This hasn't been solved in 30 years. But now over to Terver. So when did y'all launch, and where are you?
So we launched our website and our waitlist in 2023. Our early signals were really amazing. We had lots of interest in our waitlist and just in being part of the Arrivall ecosystem. We're now working very hard at converting them into signups. And our full product launch is on track for the end of Q3 this year.
Cool. And what have you been able to achieve thus far? So you've got the website. What are some exciting milestones you have to share?
Yeah, I think for me, there's three things that stand out. The first is just like the traction for our waitlist. We've had over 1,500 people, all organic, no marketing, sign up. But the other thing that's really exciting are the partnerships that we've been able to close. So one is with a solution that allows us to utilize data from their home country. So things like your earning history, your credit history in like Nigeria or Ghana or wherever you're from, to run KYC checks and basically pre-approve immigrants. What that does is that it means that our live like a local from day one promise really comes to life. Because, it's really from day one that you can access all of these like solutions. Another is with a community that will give us access to over 100,000 like new arrivals in the UK and I, which, you can imagine what the network effect of that would be. Because what it means is not only can we talk to people before they come here, but it also means that we can talk to people who are already established and who can also share their experience and create like a big brother relationship with the people that are coming, which is really what we need.
Yeah. When I first came here, we had something like that here in Holland, in The Hague. And I really did rely on that a lot, and it helped me to feel more included. So on your roadmap, so now you've got like a rental guarantee part of your solution, right? What else are people going to be able to access in the future?
Yeah, so the rental guarantee is the like beginning point, because when you come, the first thing you need is, where do I lay my head? And squatting with people is not sustainable. So that's really like an urgent solution. Next to that is the personal finance, because you do need to be able to do transactions. You need to move your money, you need to save, you need to spend. So that's the very next thing on the roadmap. And then the third part of that is just the credit building. So now that you have personal finance, how can you start to use your transactions, your day-to-day transactions, to build a credit trail and a credit score for yourself? So those are the two things that are coming, and it's all integrated.
Very nice. Do you see any ways of potentially working together with Ethien?
Absolutely. I think that the solution, first of all, I think that we're coming from the same place in that, like, we both have lived experiences of, we've moved to countries, we've seen how rough it can be, and we want to solve problems for people that look like us and have similar experiences. So I think on a fundamental level, we have a lot of synergy. And then I think with the solution as well, how we're thinking about solving by using data from home countries, I think is also like really exciting. So I'd really like to take this up and have a conversation, Ethien.
Super. And I'd love to hear, how'd you come up with the name Íkualo? Do you have a story about that? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's like at the end is the first name of the company was My Treble, which is like something related to lucky, and it's very, very close to our culture. But at the end, we were thinking about this equality, and also because in technical, I'm a technical person, and in technical meaning. When you need to find something that it's equal, you do it with that operation.
Nice. Yeah, very nice.
Right.
And so right now you're working really with people who are, immigrants moving. Do you think you're going to have people who are immigrants with their own companies, be it they're freelancers or they have their own business, that are going to want to apply for bank accounts with you?
Yeah, indeed. One special case that we have in our podcast is from one Mexican immigrant who she came to Spain and opened a chain of Mexican food here. And when we were talking with her, also she told us like the problem to have like point of sale, and of course, we started thinking about that, and also about the data that we could get starting with that, because with that we could build the same thing that Terver were saying, something regarding to having scores, and
nice.
It's the first steps. There are the first steps to making some other products, but that's something that it's in our roadmap. Now it's one idea, and we need to develop it more.
Nice. Is there anything that you'd like to mention that we haven't discussed yet, but we have a minute or two left and you say, oh, people should know about this?
Yeah, I think from my side, I'd say that we're really passionate about the social impact that Arrivall is poised to have. What I love about it is that the ripple effect of a solution like Arrivall is multifold, right? So if you think about what it means to help people escape the pain of exclusion, which, by the way, research shows is just as painful as physical pain. By helping them do that, we're improving inclusion, we're safeguarding their mental health, we're empowering them to be more resilient in a cost of living crisis that all of us are going through. We're equipping them with a community that means that, they can tap into some knowledge and they can assimilate faster. So I think that for me is really what I'm excited and very passionate about.
So inspiration for you has come from the ability to create a community for people who've left really their community and otherwise would feel all alone. Is that what I'm hearing? Absolutely. Because most of us move, at a time when, you're leaving family behind, you're leaving friendships that you've built across years behind, and it can be really isolating. So being able to tap into a community and, of settled immigrants that are going to share their own lived experiences with you, and people that are going to hold open doors for you, I think that's really like where the power is of solutions like this. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to in the next 5 to 10 years. See people who are going to be able to share their success stories of being able to settle as immigrants and have Arrivall as a pivotal moment in those journeys and those stories. So you'll be speaking at the Next Web in Amsterdam on June 20th. How can people get in touch with you if they'd like to sign up or they'd like to invest?
Yeah, so you can get in touch with me by using the QR code. I hope that that's going to flash on their screens.
Yeah.
But I think the exciting thing is that, you can take a look at my calendar and schedule some time, and I'll be very excited to speak to you.
Super. And Ethien, anything that we didn't get to mention that you would like to say, or ways that you want people to reach out to you?
Yeah. Well, just to mention that here the team is composed mainly for immigrants. Also, like 90%
Nice.
of our team, there are immigrants. We are from different places. My co-founder is from Colombia. I'm from Mexico. The marketing guy, we have someone from Cuba. Marketing.
Very international. I noticed that really does actually help teams to thrive when you have perspectives from different places.
Exactly. And well, if someone wants to reach us, you can find us in our webpage, which is Íkualo.com, and it's very easy because there we have like chatbot or
fantastic
or WhatsApp number. And that's an easy way to start to be in touch with us, or also to explore a little bit our product.
Sounds great. Very accessible. So thank you both so much. I love how inspiring your stories are. Having immigrated, as I said, from the US 30 years ago to the Netherlands, I recognize a lot of this, and you'd have thought chicken and egg would be solved by now. It isn't. So thank you to both of you for helping to solve this problem. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us and giving us this space.
You bet.
Thanks for listening to Breaking Banks Europe, a Provoke Media podcast in cooperation with Fintech Stage. Don't forget to tweet us out, shout out, or post to the team at Breaking Banks EU on Twitter. If there's something or someone you'd like to hear on our cast, let us know. See you next week on Breaking Banks Europe.